The SJB 2004 Revocable Trust. Part 6. What led to it all? Ivan Taback, Jamie Lynn, Stonebridge, and much more. Fast forward to 2017 from our previous video. Presumably there were no other relevant changes until then, at least according to the case docket. This is the year when Ivan Taback presumably resigned as sole trustee of the SJB Trust after almost a decade. In August 2017, a petition for substituted judgment is filed by James and Wallet. But what does this mean? Remember that in Part 1 we explained that the only one who can change the provisions of the trust was Britney, in her capacity as settler. But Britney did not have the legal capacity to act on her own behalf, and James and Wallet, as co-conservators, cannot modify the provisions. But what they could do is use this substituted judgment proceeding. To put it in simple words, think of it as a sort of impersonation, but legal. This way James and Wallet could act not in their name as conservators, but in Britney's name as settler, hence the substituted part. Britney could not legally make a judgment by herself, so they made the judgment for her. That is a substituted judgment. Let's pause for a moment to note that this is also when the law firm that will later represent Jamie Lynn as trustee appears in the accounting for tax and estate planning starting August 2017, which is allegedly around the time Ivan Taback resigned and Jamie Lynn got involved. That is, when the heavy changes for the SJB Trust were being made. Now back to the substituted judgment petition Wallet and James filed. What did they ask? To create and execute a new revocable living trust and a pour over will. The purpose of these two instruments is to ensure that once Britney passes away, all of her assets will be transferred to the new trust. These changes do not affect the estate in any way, not until Britney passes away. They said Britney agreed to these changes, but we choose to take that with a huge grain of salt. The trustee of the new trust is unknown, but presumably is still the same person initially named, as a trustee change would require a court order, and we have not found one. This trustee will receive an undisclosed compensation that needs to be approved by the court. The trustee will cease to act as such only if they are under a legal disability, or by reason of illness or mental or physical disability, in the written opinion of two doctors. Ironic, given how easily they removed Britney as trustee of the SJB Trust, but then made it a lot harder for the trustee of the trust they created to be removed. Apparently, allegedly, paragraphs 3, 4, and 5 of the SJB Revocable Trust referred to the distribution of assets upon Britney's death, but James and Wallet amended it. So all of Britney's assets, the SJB Trust's assets, life insurance, and any other assets, will be transferred to the BJS Kids and Family Trust upon her death by the then trustee of this new trust. They even indicated that if, for any reason, at the time of Britney's passing away, the BJS Kids and Family Trust does not exist, then the trustee of this new trust would still have to distribute the assets according to its latest provisions that James and Wallet created. These changes were revised no less than 3 times between August 2017 and May 2018 when the order was granted. Essentially, all the estate planning that Britney made prior to the conservatorship is no longer active because James and Wallet have changed it. There is no mention of Ivan until May 2018, when we find out that Ivan has resigned, appointed Jamie Lynn as successor trustee, and James and Wallet are looking to confirm her appointment as sole trustee of the SJB Trust for the rest of Britney's life. Makes you wonder why Ivan, after 10 years of being trustee of the SJB Trust, abruptly decided to resign right around the time James and Wallet started to make heavy changes to the trust. The Piece of Me tour was announced in January 2018 and began in July 2018, ending in October 2018.
I was on tour in 2018. I was forced to recap. I was on tour in 2018. I was forced to do. My management said if I don't do this tour, I will have to find an attorney, and by contract, my own management could sue me if I didn't follow through with the tour. He handed me a sheet of paper as I got off the stage in Vegas and said I had to sign it. It was very threatening and scary.
This means that in late 2017 at the latest, they were threatening Britney to go on tour. Meanwhile, they were doing all these changes in case she passed away. For 10 years, they had not changed her testamentary wishes, but suddenly realized they had to update her will, coincidentally at the same time Britney was starting to fight back. Now, keep in mind that the conservatorship controls the business entities, which are the ones bringing most of the money to the conservatorship of the estate. The conservatorship does not control the SJB Trust, at least not directly or officially. So once Britney stopped working, the money also stopped pouring as it used to, especially for the ones who were getting percentages of Britney's income, such as James and Lou Taylor. Could this be the reason why they were already meddling with the SJB Trust since 2017, which is when Britney started to give signs that she wants a break?
When I came off that tour, a new show in Las Vegas was supposed to take place. I started rehearsing early, but it was hard because I'd been doing Vegas for 4 years and I needed a break in between. There was a week period where they were nice to me and they said, I don't want to do, and I told them I don't want to do they were nice to me. They said, if I don't want to do the new Vegas show, I don't have to, because I was getting really nervous. I said, I can wait. It was like, they told me I could wait. It was like lifting literally 200 pounds off of me when they said I don't have to do the show anymore, because I was really, really hard on myself and it was too much. I couldn't take it anymore. So I remember telling my assistant, but you know what? I feel weird if I say no. I feel like they're going to come back and be mean to me or punish me or something. 3 days later, after I said no to Vegas, my therapist sat me down in a room and said he had a million phone calls about how I was not cooperating in rehearsals and I haven't been taking my medication. All of this was a false.
In January 2019, Britney was sent to Bridges to recovery. Recounting what happened there, on July 14, 2021, Britney said regarding her stay there, and there's $1 million question. Why would they do that? I have no idea. So honestly, I started just to think they were trying to kill me. In March, Wallet resigns after more than a decade of being co-conservator of the estate. In May, Britney appears in court and accuses James of forcing her to go to Bridges to recovery. In August, James throws down a door and shakes one of Britney's children, and they get a 3-year restraining order against him. In Q1 2020, Stonebridge's assets under management increase. In August same year, Lynn asks the court to allow her to move the SJB Trust's funds to Stonebridge. In November, she withdraws her petition to move the funds to Stonebridge and claims she wants to resign as trustee of the SJB Trust, although her resignation has not been officially confirmed. Coincidentally or not, after the failed attempt to move the funds to Stonebridge, their assets under management decreased to approximately the same amount as before 2020, when James and Wallet made the changes to the SJB Trust's provisions. Paragraph 6 was also entirely amended to state that Lynn had the authority to appoint a co-trustee, custodian, or agent, an institutional trustee. But this appointment could only be made if the institutional trustee had capital, undivided profits, and surplus, aggregating at least $50 million. This institution could also remain as trustee if Lynn resigned, but designated that institution as the successor. This begs the question of whether or not Stonebridge's assets under management sudden and very abrupt increase was made, artificially or otherwise, only to be able to meet the $50 million threshold. Previous to Q1 2020, Stonebridge had approximately $150 million in assets under management, but most likely with this amount it could not meet the requirement of $50 million in capital, undivided profits, and surplus, which is a totally different category than assets under management.